there's this push online, and my apologies, John, for Tennessee to wear, since it's UConn, some sort of blue uniform, like a faded blue uniform in honor of Pat Summitt. I think this is Breast Cancer Awareness Month is October, so it will be November. But yeah. So, but nevertheless, would you hate that now that we're in the era of alternate jerseys? And thoughts on the message board? What about a blue jersey? Caleb, if you can pull up an example of it, I'd love to see it and show John. But John, what would you think about that?
I think it would be great. I mean, Tennessee's already established the fact that it's going to use alternate uniforms. And I don't think you can go wrong by honoring Pat Summitt, not just for what she did for her basketball program, winning 8 national titles, what she did for her sport, and what she did for the University of Tennessee. I mean, yeah, I love that uniform.
There it is. It's got, if you're watching on our YouTube channel, be sure and hit the like and subscribe button. I think that thing looks tight. And if you would have told me light blue, John, orange, and white, I would have told you that's going to look like garbage. But when I see it, it looks really good.
Unlike you, Dave, I knew it would look really good. Those colors just go together. I don't know why you'd have had that opinion.
Well, John's a Florida fan. That's what we just found out.
I love Florida's uniform. I love UCLA's uniforms.
I think UCLA has the best uniforms in the biz, personally. So now the question is, though, guys, let's be honest. Would that sell? Because that's what a lot of these uniforms are about. It's partially about recruiting, but it's also about, are they going to sell more unis at the UT shop, which isn't carrying Celebrate 98, the Untold Stories behind Tennessee's 1998 National Championship. But you can find it at Hound Dogs. You can also find it at Sports Treasures, and you can find Alumni Hall, but not the UT shop, so don't go there. But your thoughts on, John, would they sell more unis? Would they sell more of these? I think the Lady Vol fans would gobble this thing up.
Oh, there's no doubt about that. It would, I think it would sell very well. And I think there's some fans. I mean, Tennessee has great fans and so many of them. I think they want to have all the alternates. But I think because of Pat Summitt, how much she meant to the school, how much she meant to the fan base. I mean, there's a statue of her over there. I think that says it all. And so I think they would sell very well. And it's a really good, I really like this uniform. I think it would be the best uniform Tennessee's ever worn.
Wow. So, John, how many national championships did you win? Was it 7?
8.
8. What about the number 8 and then Summitt on the back? Even if they didn't wear them, I think that would sell like crazy. Caleb, what do you think?
I don't know if you need the number. I think the number 8 might confuse. Could you imagine being a broadcaster and you see the number 8 and then the player's number and you're trying to figure out who the player is?
Well, no. And I'm not saying Pat, they should raise Pat Summitt that she should play. I'm just talking about in the shops to sell the jerseys.
Well, so I see what you're saying. Yeah, and I wanted to bring up a couple of things on this because this is actually a big deal because I've talked about this for a while. In the age of NIL, this is why they're setting all these fundraising goals. The reason they're doing this is because they want the boosters to cobble up that money to buy players, meaning they have to figure out other ways to raise money to do some of the other things they want at the universities now. And so you're going to see more alternate uniforms because you need to see more jerseys sell. And so I think this is a big deal. I also think that I wonder, and John, and you could attest to this. I've talked with Dave some about it, or you could give me your thoughts. I feel like the Lady Vol fan base is actually a little bit unique. Like the actual hardcore Lady Vol fan base is a little bit different from the Tennessee football and basketball fan base. And I do feel like it's a group that was there when Title IX and the university embraced it in the 1970s. And they're very protective of that brand. And do you think this would play well with that fan base, or do you think it'd be upsetting to them that a men's sport is using the blue jerseys now?
No, I think that's a really good point to bring up. I think the fans would really embrace it. I think they will see it in the way it was intended. You're right. There's a hardcore Lady Vol fan base that will always be there. And some of those fans are not necessarily big fans of the rest of the program. They don't live and die with Tennessee football, but they live and die with Lady Vols basketball. So What happens, though, when Tennessee's doing well, like in any sport, more fans join. I mean, you have other fans too, but there's that hardcore fan base, and some of them aren't as excited about the other sport. The Lady Vols basketball team is their team. But I think anything that honors Pat Summitt, those fans would really embrace, and I think they'd be all for it.
Yeah, and this point made on our message board, what would be cool is Vols on it somewhere using the Lady Vols logo font, which is a different logo. John, I go back to when they wanted to make it one logo and just get away from the two logos, which, listen, I work in marketing. I understand you don't want two logos. You don't want to create two logos from the get-go, but if you've already got them established, you're not turning them down. Nike's not taking away the Air Jordan logo so that it can have just one. I thought that, looking back, was that not the dumbest move by an administrator that you can ever recall outside of hiring or firing coaches?
Yeah, Dave Hart's decision about what to do with the Lady Vols, when you're talking about perhaps the most famous brand in women's college sports, certainly one of the most, to change that, it ultimately led to his departure.
Do you think that was that big of a factor, really?
Yes.
Well, that combined, he upset the Lady Vol fan base, but then there was just the totally PR mishandling of the sexual assault lawsuits that the women's groups had filed against Tennessee that happened right around the same time. And I would never forget Dave Hart having all the coaches call this press conference to try to talk about it. And Butch Jones coming out and saying this. Butch Jones came out and said this is bad for recruiting. And
one of the strangest things I've ever seen.
Yeah.
He paraded all the coaches out there, and we're one. It's such a beautiful place to be. We love this place. Everybody loves each other. Yeah.
Yeah, and Butch Jones, of course, said this is hurting our recruiting, as if that matters when you're worried about an issue of sexual assault on campus. You know, that really makes the university look good.
No, but I just think I think when Dave Hart did that, it was a classic case of it's dumber than any of the examples Caleb has brought up with dumb coaches. It was a classic case of all the things to do. Why would you even think about doing that? It was just,
he was
going out of your way to get detractors.
John, I think he was hired to be a hatchet man, and there were at least 500 associate athletic directors running around making $150,000. So I got that. You needed to get rid of some people to trim the budget, but that does not mean you get rid of the Lady Vols logo. And I'm pleasantly surprised that there's support for the blue jersey in the UConn game. I didn't think that would be the case. So we'll see if we can get that done. And it brings it back around because who wears number 8 currently for the Vols, guys? You know who that is, right?
I know who it is. I know who it is.
So if you went number 8 for Pat Summitt, then that's the only way that jersey is seen in public.
Dave, I don't think a lot of people are going to make that connection. Why is there number 8 on the jersey? And I don't think most people immediately respond with, "Oh, well, Pat Summitt won 8 national titles."
What other number are you going to put? Summitt on the back and 8 because she won 8. That would sell like crazy.
How about number 1 because she was number 1?
Caleb, decide it for us.
I think put 8 on the helmet. Put it on the helmet.
On the helmet.
Like the way Tennessee
put 92 on the helmet. Caleb.
Like no power T, just a big 8?
No. Like the way Tennessee put the 92 on the helmet when Reggie White passed away and they played the Cotton Bowl. They put the 9 and the 2 on either side, but the helmet was regular.
We're talking about the jersey. If they sold the blue jersey.
You can't have all the players wear 8 on the field.
No, I don't mean that. I just mean the jersey that you're selling in the UT shop.
Yeah.
I mean, but then honestly, in an age of NIL, couldn't there be? Here's a question. This is an honest question, actually. If you do that, couldn't there actually be like a lawsuit from Nico to say, well, that I should get the proceeds from that because that's me? And some people were like, no, this is in honor of Pat Summitt. That'd be the first NIL lawsuit, wouldn't it?
Caleb, a lot of times you remind me of an attorney. Did you go to law school for just a brief time, maybe?
No. I did study constitutional history in college, so I
All
learned
right.
how to
Now now Nico's anti-cancer awareness. All right. Fantastic job. Thank you, John. I'm sorry we went long, but I forgot that subject. I'm glad we got it in. Thank you, sir.
Thanks, guys.